Your sketches in Key and Peele always seem very well written, very tight. What's your view on improv as opposed to sketch?
So
not as a respect thing, but just as a like you as an artist.
I got infected, beautifully infected, I should say, by improv, because I ended up spending a good 7 years of my life, which is well over 10,000 hours, right, just doing improvisation,
right,
and teaching it and immersing myself in it. I love improvisation as a tool.
Mm-hmm.
It is a skill that can be developed and a skill that can be used to in the writing process. And sometimes I think I have a facility for it, and sometimes I'm just. And I think a lot of people are doing this. Sometimes we're a writer director I worked with a couple times in my career. He used to call them grip laughs, meaning that you did the line in 4 takes, and then in the 5th take you changed the line, and everybody in the crew laughed. They're not laughing because it's funnier. They're laughing because it's different. So don't necessarily think that's going to get in the movie.
Interesting, yeah.
And don't think necessarily that. I don't necessarily agree with him. Sometimes it's helpful for morale, for the crew.
Yeah, the life of.
I'm a classically trained actor, so
right.
I'm a Shakespearean trained actor, like Shakespeare, Ibsen, Moliere,
right.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, tight.
Restoration theater. Learn the line. The words are. I don't mean this to sound pejorative, but the words are weapons. Mm-hmm. In every scene, you're trying to win something. You're trying to gain something. You're trying to complete something. And you need these tools to complete that thing.
Right.
So there's more of a sense, you'd think there'd be more of a sense of security. But in the greatest acting moments, the greatest moments of truth are usually those moments we were talking about earlier, right? That kind of flop out or pop. Here's a moment in the poker scene in Goodfellas. Tommy, the Joe Pesci character's talking. He's trying to remember the name of a movie, and someone's going, it's who was Gary, and they're all talking about trying to remember the name of the movie. He's swinging this pistol around, and he goes, and somebody says, is it High Noon? I think somebody, High Noon. He goes, High Noon, or I think that's it. It's Gary Cooper, right. And then De Niro just kind of pops outside. He goes, Shane. And then Joe Pesci goes, I can't, Shane. He stops the scene to go, I heard what you said. And it's in the movie.
Right.
And it's a beautiful little moment, natural moment. Mm-hmm. And I think those should be imbued. Mm-hmm. They should, any kind of artistic endeavor, whether it be a play or a film, should be littered with those moments.
Right.
And when I did a show on Broadway, did a Steve Martin play on Broadway with Amy Schumer and Laura Benanti and Jeremy Shamus. So much.
Wow.
I could have done it for 5 years.
Yeah, oh my God.
So much fun. And there were nights where Benanti and I, right backstage, right before the show, I go, do you want to do a plan B tonight? She goes, yeah, let's do a plan B. Meaning, we're going to say all the lines, but there's going to be actions that we're going to do just to keep it buoyant and fresh. To keep Amy and Jeremy on their toes. And Amy would do the same thing. Sometimes Amy would just walk on stage and like, this bitch doesn't have no shoes on. Why are you not wearing shoes? Because she's just a woman in her home. Why would I need to have my shoes on?
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay, so we're dealing with that tonight.
Yeah,
or,
it gives you life.
It gives it life.
Yeah.
So I'm also a person who believes, even if it is improvised, and there are friends of mine and people I respect deeply who feel differently about it. It's actually, there's some of it in the book. We interviewed Christopher Guest, and Christopher, firm, adamant believer that improvisation, acting out a scenario is not sketch. That's his feeling.
Right.
His argument is a sketch is written. It is a written piece. Or as Mel Brooks said, it's a tiny play that you've written, or a sketch of a play, right? And I think that even if, no matter the source, the creative source that the story comes from. If it's small and short and contained, it's a sketch, whether it was written or improvised. So I think it's a hearty, robust argument that we can
like
have.
it's like the end result is a sketch.
The end result
but
is
Christopher
still a
Guest
sketch.
was saying that it's not a sketch; it's a different project.
Because it's a different art form.
Right.
And in our in improvisation, the Mount Rushmore is kind of Viola Spolin put together, created a book called the Improvisation for the Theater, and Del Close, and Keith Johnstone from England for me, and then Bernie Solins, who owned the Second City for a very long time. And Bernie used to say, Del always said, improvisation is an art form unto itself. And Bernie always said, improvisation is a tool we use. It's a playwriting or screenwriting tool we use to generate material. And they were at loggerheads creatively their entire career together. It was really great.
Yeah, that is great.
Yeah.
Are comedic films a series of sketches?
Some are. So funny, you're mentioning all the things that are in the book.
Yeah.
So, Airplane, there are lots of scenes in Airplane and in Airplane 2 that can live on their own in a vacuum.
Right.
So when the stewardess, I just said stewardess because I'm in my 50s.
Yeah.
When the flight
attendant, in the script it was probably written
stewardess.
as
It's probably stewardess when she comes up, and
the
guy's like, the black man is like, oh man, cut me to the bone. And then his friend's like, yo, Jack, you gotta help my friend get on the man's side. And Barbara Billingsley says, excuse me, miss, I speak jive. And she comes over, the guy's like, she's like, what she's saying is that she's going to go to the place and get you some medicine. He goes, man, I dug her rap. That's all right, Jack. I know what mama. What do you say?
On the downside,
he said, my mama didn't raise no dummy. I dug her rap. So if you were to do that, is that me? If you were to do that in a vacuum, that sketch I think would still
live,
work without us knowing about the fact that the string that holds the movie together is this is a parody of Airport 77.
Right.
This is a comedic parody of Airport 77. There's a thing. The plane is in crisis. They're in trouble. Let's try to land it.
Yeah.
But all that stuff that happens inside,
they're all just
they're just sketches. Yeah. Another example we have in the book is there's a little moment, just a tiny moment in the movie Midnight Run with Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin, where John Ashton walks up to a ticket booth to buy a plane ticket, and he's smoking a cigarette, and he's going, and the guy, he goes, are you going to pay with cash, sir? He goes, yeah. He goes, and would you like a smoking seat or a non-smoking seat? And he goes, take a wild guess. And it's just, you know what I mean? It's just a nice hard joke.
Yeah.
And that's in improv we'd call that a blackout or just a small little
just a
pop,
smack.
Just a pop. Yeah. So I think that lots of comedic films, the trick, that elegance you were talking about at the beginning of our discussion is how do I keep the full story together intact?
Yeah.
And then in the midst of that, how do I set up funny moments? How do I set up sketches?
Beginnings and ends.
Beginnings and ends right
within.
here. Yeah, within.
Yeah.
That's the tough part.
That is the tough part.
That's
but man, they really do make for very funny movies, right? Like Dumb and Dumbers or like the Ace Venturas, like all those that are just going to be trying to be as balls out funny as you possibly
can, right?
In that short time.